Alright, my name is Peterson, and today for my instructional video we are going to talk about amalgamating gold. So if you remember from my last speech, we talked about a sluice box and how you collect gold and other heavy sands from gravel. So today we're going to talk about how to separate the gold from these other heavy sands that you are going to get from your sluice box. And the technique we're going to talk about is called amalgamating, where you use mercury to separate the gold. So the list of items you're going to need for this is going to be obviously your tub of sand. You're going to need some type of mixer, like an old cement mixer works very well, or even just a tub that you can stir in. And then you need some water and of course your mercury. And the final thing we're going to need is some type of pot or container where we can retort the mercury off at the end. So the first step is to take your sand and you are going to put it in your mixer and add water to it. Then you want to turn on your mixer. You don't want to add too much water, just enough. This is just for cleaning the sand, so we get rid of all of the silt and fine material out of it. So you want to add the water, turn on your mixer, let it mix for a few minutes, and after that you can empty out the water so you have just your sand again, and at that point you want to add the same amount of clean water back in. Okay, so at this point you're going to add your mercury. Now it does not take much, just a few ounces is plenty, especially if you don't have large volumes of gold in this sand. So once you add your mercury, and again you have the water in there already, you're going to turn on the mixer again and give it a few minutes to mix so that the mercury bonds with the gold. That is the ultimate goal here. So after you've let it mix for a few minutes, you can stop it, and then you need to separate the gold and mercury from the rest of the sand. Probably the easiest way to do this is just by panning. So after you've panned out all of your sand and mercury mix, you should be left with just mercury and gold together. And all the sand, there's no mercury in it, it should be all clean, and you can do whatever with that. So now we have to separate the mercury and the gold. And the best way to do this is called retorting. And this is basically just boiling the mercury off, if you want to call it that. Mercury has a very low boiling point where it turns into a gas. It's about 160 degrees, so it doesn't require too much time or effort. So this is where you're going to need your pot. And you need some type of heavy-duty pot that you can have a lid on it and seal it tight. And in the lid of this pot, you want to drill a hole and put in some type of tube that runs up, and then you're going to have the tube run up and then down so it can drip into a cup. So this works a lot like when they make moonshine with a distillery. The mercury gets evaporated up and it condenses in your tube and then drips down into your container so you can use your mercury again. So yeah, you just put the mercury and gold in the pot, secure the lid tightly, and heat it up. You know, again, it needs to be about 160 degrees, so it doesn't take too long. This is a very important and dangerous step, though. Mercury vapor is very deadly, so you want to make sure to do this outside in a well-ventilated area. Again, if you have a good pot and tight lid, this shouldn't be a problem, but you know, we don't want to take any chances. So the best is to turn on the heat and let it cook for a while and just walk away and leave it again so that you're not accidentally exposed to mercury vapor. And after you feel it has cooked off sufficiently, turn off the heat and let it cool for several hours so that it's for sure all the mercury is condensed back into liquid form. And if you heated it up well enough and did all the steps correctly, you should end up with just gold in your pot, and you should have your mercury in the little container at the end of your tube that you can use again. And so that is the steps for amalgamating gold. It is not widely used just because it is dangerous if not done correctly or safely. But it is a very effective way, and a lot of smaller miners will use it because it is easy and effective. So that is amalgamating gold.